test me. Oh, confess, please. 'Cause I know you've been watching, waiting for me to fall so you can catch me. The one thing she don't know, 'cause it never lets show is that I miss her when she's away, and I wanna kiss her face. She thinks she's in over her head. She thinks she's the only one who goes crazy. Picks up the phone when she thinks she heard it ring. Hugging her pillow every night when she's asleep. But she's not the only one. When I'm with her, I can't sleep. Wanna know what she's dreaming. Falling in love to the sound of her breathing. Trying to hide, but it's easy to see that. But she's not the only one. She's not the only one. Yeah. No, she's not the only one. How we get here feels like 10 years. Knew each other, I was so real. Let her know how I feel. My heart needs some place to rest.
Please don't get jealous of the things I've done, 'cause I have made my way through the better days. I will not be angry if you walk away, 'cause it just proves that you are not okay. I should've known from the start that I was starting something. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I should've known right from the start that it would end in more than. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I can't help but feel the way I feel when I'm with you. When I'm with you, I can't help but feel the way I feel when I'm with you. When I'm with you. Please stop your yelling, you used to be so calm. You were my number one, but now you're just no fun. I showed you my hand and you played it repeatedly. Oh, and now it's time to go back into me. Oh, I should've known from the start that I was doing something. Oh, I should've known right from the start that it would end in nothing. I can't help but feel the way I feel when I'm with you. When I'm with you, I can't help but feel the way I feel when
Kissing slowly, she don't love me, she's just leading me on again. Tries to fake it, no, she'll break it. I can't take being alone in the end. I let this happen, I was happy, we were laughing, but it never lasted long. I love her more, she is bored about some things and she's out that door. And I'm what's left, I'm a mess, digging in the breeze of my heart, baby, oh, baby. You did me wrong for so long, you'll always be in my heart, baby. Now looking back, I'm moving forward. Looking back, she was forward, trying to get me in that gap. That's not up, we're headed back. Maybe that's all that she wanted. Not a lover, just an object. Can't erase the love we made. Drink the memories away. Like you, lean on, can I let them in? Not much left, I'm a mess, taking to the breeze of my heart, baby, baby. You did me wrong for so long, you'll always be in my heart, baby. You knock and I let.
Hello, friends. Hopefully you can hear me. Trying out my other headphones today because the ones I had before I could not hear in, so thank you for the follows, Almighty Sith, and there was another one. None Picado. Thanks for following, guys. Yeah, I don't normally get on this early, but I had extra time today, so I thought I would get on here before I had to go to work today. Yeah. I'm gonna watch Turmoil in the Toybox. I remember watching this video. I watched some of it, like after I watched Seth Andrews' like whole he did a video on like the Satanic Panic and all that, and it really rung a bell with me because I'm back from the sick in the past 2 days. Oh, that sucks. Good morning, Catnip. Yeah, so the other day I was thinking about that and just like Seth Andrews' whole speech on it, and I was like, oh, I don't think I've ever watched the entire video of Turmoil in the Toybox, and I know it was from like the 80s or 90s. I think it was the 80s. So it's a really old video. But I remember him talking about it and how it like led to a lot of the Satanic Panic and people completely just like not playing certain games and watching certain videos and stuff. And I grew up in that whole era where it was craziness, where there was like certain things you don't watch, certain things you don't, play with, certain things you don't even go near because those things are satanic and can lead into all kinds of devil worship and stuff. So, which I look back now and I'm just like, it's so ridiculous that so many adults were like scared of these innocent things that were created for kids, but they really buy into this stuff like in not a good way. Because I grew up in that whole era where, we weren't allowed to play D&D because I was always told that D&D you had to like summon actual demons to like win the game and stuff, which is completely ridiculous. Because when I was a teenager, I went to some of my brother's like D&D campaigns, which is also funny that he was doing that as a teenager, and I guess my parents just didn't know, or they didn't care, or I don't know. But yeah, I never actually have played D&D, but I was around people who played D&D, and I never saw any of that. And it was drilled into my head that, like, Ouija boards can, like, summon demons and all this stuff, so. And I remember when Harry Potter came out, like, that was a big no-no in my house. Like, we weren't allowed to read the books, we weren't allowed to watch the movies, which, you know, as a kid, I didn't listen to my parents, like, when it came to that stuff. My school was, like, right next to a Toys R Us, so I would always walk over there and, like, read, like, some of the Harry Potter books when they first came out. Because I was like, I want to read these. And then I watched all the movies just at my friends' houses because my parents wouldn't let me watch them at home. But for me, I was like, I don't care. Like, I'm going to go watch them with my friends. So I guess I wasn't, like, a perfect child. But at the same time, it's like, I think people make things, they take things way out of context and don't live in reality, and it's not great. Greg Locke burnt all that stuff. Yeah, I heard about that. I didn't watch that. I thought there was a video, or I saw was it Telltale actually put a picture up of him burning stuff? Or maybe it was Hemet. I can't remember. I have so many people on my Twitter that I follow, and I always get those mixed up, but somebody posted a picture of him burning all that stuff. Which is funny, too, because I had friends when I was a kid that would always claim that they had Ouija boards and stuff, and their parents threw them in the fire, and threw the Ouija boards in the fire, and they screamed. And I was just like, what? But, okay. Yeah, people are weird. People have weird beliefs sometimes when it comes to some of that stuff. I don't know if you guys have seen my YouTube video on what expands and it creates sound. Yay, science, for teaching us about what happens when you burn wood. Yeah, I don't know if you guys watched my YouTube video, but I did a whole video on, like, some of the satanic panic stuff I was raised on, and how I was, told demons were real, and I wasn't allowed to celebrate Halloween. We weren't even allowed to carve pumpkins because my mom went to some, like, I don't even know. She used to listen. I don't know what she used to listen to, because some of the stuff that she really believes is just insane in my mind. But I just remember coming home one year and was like, oh, we can't carve pumpkins anymore because, I went to this sermon and they told us that carving pumpkins, like, creates a portal for demons to come into your house or something like that. And I was like, what? Like... So, for a long time, I wasn't allowed to carve pumpkins. And I don't think I even started carving pumpkins again until I was in college. So, yeah, my inner self is screaming. Yeah, I grew up with some crazy ideas, and I don't know if it was just because of, like, growing up in a Christian household, or if there were other... It's used to scare away the demons. Or if there were other things happening in the adults' brains around me that is not a healthy state. I don't know. I have not figured that one out. And I probably never will, but it's just crazy to me that so many people buy into these ideas and really... Not only do they buy into them, but they also, like, pound them into their children's heads in not a good way. In, like, a dangerous way that makes those kids grow up to be scared and unable to, like, do anything in the world. I don't know. It's really weird to me. I guess it's just weird to me now because I'm a atheist now, and I'm just like, oh, that's not the reality that I live in. But alright, so this video is very old, and I don't know, it's probably not great quality, but I really wanted to watch it. Greg Locke's burning those books shows in stark contrast that Christians fear us learning. Yeah, Christians just fear everything. The older I get, and the more I look into the religion that I was raised in, religion. I hate calling it religion, because honestly I think Christianity is just another cult, but, you know, they'll claim they're not a cult, but yeah, the religion that I was raised in is just, it's very much a cult, because they try to keep, you know, information control and all those things that they try to keep you away from that will make you leave the church. Even though Christians will say, like, oh no, go study, go find truth. But the problem is they don't want you to find any other truth but their truth. So if you go out and you find all this evidence that shows that what they believe is completely wrong, and they don't live in the reality that we all live in, if you come to a different conclusion than them, then you're wrong. Period. It doesn't matter if you have facts. It doesn't matter if you have anything to back up why you left or the reasons you have for not believing in the same thing they believe. Because all the Christians that I've talked to, it's always been about finding, you know, God through whatever evidence you can. It's not it's starting with the conclusion and then deciding, you know, through the evidence to make that conclusion work. And that's why I think it is very much a cult, even though they say they're not a cult, and they're like, oh no, we'll let you go out and look at whatever you want to look at, but you have to come to the same conclusion as us. And that's the biggest problem I have, especially when it comes to, you know, people around me and growing up in that, because that's how a lot of them are. It's like, it doesn't matter what evidence you look at. You have to come to the conclusion that the Bible is true, and you have to come to the conclusion that Jesus and God are real. And if you don't, then you're just wrong. So, okay, whatever. I don't know. For me, I don't feel like I live in reality, so, and I enjoy reality, and I enjoy who I am now, and I like who I am now. The more and more I become my own person and, like, find my identity and find out, you know, who I actually want to be and allow myself to be that person versus trying to fit into this idea of what people want me to be, it's not worth it. Like, the one life I get, it's not worth it to me to try to please everybody and, you know, be this person they want me to be, because it's not the person I am. And it's never been the person I am. Even though they tried to make me that, it was very much, you know, my inner identity has wanted to come out for a long time. And, you know, these last few years have shown me that I can be that person. And I don't have to take anybody's crap about it. Like, people don't like what I do, that's their problem, not mine. So, and, you know, the older I get, the more I realize, like, it doesn't matter what other people think, you know? If they hate me because I'm an atheist, that's their problem. If they hate me because anything I do in my life doesn't go with whatever morals or values they think everyone should live by, I don't really care. Like, it's my life. This is what I've chosen to do with my life, so. And it does suck, because there's people in my life that, you know, I don't want to hurt, and I don't want them to judge me and look at me as anything less than them just because I don't believe the same things they do. But I know that if they ever found out what I, you know, believe and, you know, the way I live my life, they would definitely look down and judge me, which really sucks. But unfortunately, that's the world we live in. All right, let's get to Turmoil in the Toybox. Part 1. This video presentation you are about to view is based on the best-selling book, Turmoil, in the Toybox, which tells how children play, takes an in-depth look at the toy and cartoon industry, and unmasks the New Age occult, violent, and satanic influences that have invaded the once innocent toy box. At the conclusion of this video presentation, we will give you information on how to obtain the book. Oh, of course you will. It's all about selling stuff, right? Hi-Fi. Oh my goodness, this is old. This is probably from like a VHS.
Eagle's Food. From the Eagle's Nest. With Gary Greenwald. This unique program combines the dynamic ministry of God's Word, the discussion of contemporary
the
issues,
80s.
and the demonstration of God.
Gotta love the 80s. I was born in the 80s, so.
God's power. Now, here's Gary Greenwald.
Deception of a Generation, Part 1. Oh my god, this is so old.
Hello, I'm Gary Greenwald, and over the past several years, the Eagle's Nest Ministries has exposed certain things like rock and roll music, Dungeons and Dragons, marijuana, and even the New Age movement.
Oh my
and now
god.
We feel there's another...
I wonder what they think about marijuana now. Oh my god. I live in a state where it's legal and there's like stores everywhere you can buy it now. Like there's I can't drive down the street without seeing 3 or 4 stores now. I mean, I know that's not like, it's not that way everywhere, but I just think it's funny how times have changed. In Arkansas, it's legal. Yeah. No, we voted it legal here, and you can actually, there's like dispensaries on every corner now. Like, they just opened one right around the corner from me. Like, and if I drive through town, I can think of, oh god, I can think of so many just in my town. I think like 4 or 5 just sitting here that I drive by every day. That's really funny. The devil's lettuce.
attack upon our society. If I say something like wicked witches and demon clouds and spell books and even the zone of eternal evil, what comes to mind? What do you think of? Do you think of a coven of witches or a seance?
Oh, God.
Watch now.
Wicked witches, demon clouds. Where do we start, Mr. Van Gool?
You start by getting that spell book before those foolish witches destroy the world.
We've got some witches to splat.
You coming with us, Mr. V? I'm afraid I cannot.
Like we're not into witches either, sir. We'll stick with you.
If you wish, I'm going to hunt down that demonist in the zone of eternal evil where the darkest spirits are trapped.
Oh my
Like
god.
on second thought, send us a postcard.
I loved Scooby when I was a kid. And my kids love Scooby now. Like, they have new Scooby-Doo stuff. It's awesome. Scooby-Doo is the bomb, man. That's all I have to say.
Good luck with the mist, Mr. V.
If they don't recover that book, no amount of luck will save us. Oh, powers locked within this stone, transport me now to the evil zone. I hope I find that mist.
You know, you've been watching
Where
a
did he
Scooby-Doo
go?
cartoon.
Did he just go to hell or something? I don't understand what just happened.
It's amazing to me to see what's being brought forth in a cartoon. We've seen spell books, occultic amulets, we saw a crystal ball, astral projection to the evil zone, all of this in a children's cartoon. Now, I've got a guest today. His name is Phil Phillips. He's from Texas. He has been involved in missions work in his life, and he has now felt called to study the effects...
Demonism. I love how that's just on the TV behind them. Like, this is a real thing.
...of cartoons and children's toys and even TV programs upon our children today. And I'd like to introduce a young man. And Phil, God bless you, and it's good to see you today.
It's a pleasure being here today, Gary.
Now, Phil, I'll tell you what, 14 years ago, Scooby-Doo was a lot different than what we see today, and I could hardly recognize it. Can you tell me what's going on in this cartoon?
Yes, there's a vast movement toward the occult within the cartoon and toy industry. Most people don't realize that 80% of all cartoons deal directly with the occult, and 40% of the toys on the market have occultic influence, and these are the most popular.
And these toys are actually...
I can't speak that language, but that was only a prelude where they burn books. They will, in the end, also burn people.
a mirror of the cartoons, is that correct?
Right. They're released together. It's a form of marketing where the toys and the cartoons are released together to create this popularity for the toys.
Now, you have a concern, I know, that all of this is affecting our youth, and I wanted to know, do you feel that there are a lot of children that are being influenced by the cartoons they watch?
You know, people don't put out, like, toys and shows at the same time because they want people to follow Satan and believe in, you know, satanic rituals or whatever. They put that stuff out because it's consumerism. They want to make money. And what's the best way to make money off of a TV show other than, you know, putting out toys? Kids watch the TV show. They love the TV show. Of course they want to go out and get toys from that TV show. I have kids. They do that all the time where they'll see, you know, something in the store from a TV show that they've seen. And they're like, oh, I want that toy because I've seen that TV show and I want to play with the toys from that TV show just like they do on the TV. And, you know, my kids are at that age where they, you know, use their imagination and they use their toys to, you know, make up their own stories and their own ideas and things like that. And that's how they make their money. You're going to make more money if you create those things and kids want them and parents are willing to go out and spend their money on them. Because it's like, oh, yeah, that's going to give me, you know, something to give my child that they can play with and they can spend time with. And, you know, use their imagination and all that, not just sit at home and watch TV all day. You know, people are always complaining that kids have too much, like, TV time, but, you know, those toys kind of give kids the outlet to just go make their own adventures and stuff. And I know my kids do that, so. But, yeah, it has nothing to do with, like, oh, we're trying to get people to believe in Satan, or you just described D&D. I mean, yeah, pretty much that's how D&D works, too. Yeah. But it's just funny that this whole idea that, like, Christians are they're not just afraid of, like, people going out and, like, studying things. They're afraid of people just, like, using their imaginations and basically being a person and just allowing yourself to, I don't know, go into these fantasy worlds and stuff. And maybe that's a big thing against Christianity because you're supposed to live in, like, this reality where everything is honoring to God. And is it not, I guess it's not honoring to God if you're using your imagination to go into, like, fantasy worlds? I don't know. And maybe I don't know, the Christian church has this whole idea that, like, there's slippery slopes to everything, so it's quite possible that they're like, oh no, that's a slippery slope into other things, because, you know, if you're okay with one fantasy, then, you know, you're gonna lead yourself into other fantasies, which, that's a whole other ballpark thing, but, you know, the idea that you can just use your brain to think up anything you want. You know, Christianity is very against any type of thought crime, especially when it comes to anything outside of what they think the Bible says is right. God gave us the head noodle to use for our purposes. Why did he make it evil? Yeah. Basically, he gave us this wonderful brain to, like, imagine and think and create and, you know, allow our artistic side to come out. But our artistic side can only come out if it only pleases him. If you're doing anything that doesn't please God, then it's not okay. So, like, I guess D&D is bad to them because you're not pleasing God by, you know, playing in this fantasy world with all these different characters who, you know, go on adventures and stuff, because you're not thinking about God in those times. You're thinking about just having fun with your friends. Like, it's ridiculous.
Oh, yes. Take, for instance, a cartoon like He-Man and Masters of the Universe. It can be seen as many as 31 times a week in an area, with a viewing audience as much as 16 million children each time it's aired. And so we're seeing a vast effect on the whole United States and other countries around the world through these cartoons and toys.
Millions of children now watching occultic cartoons and then going out and buying occultic toys. Now, could we say that there is witchcraft and occultic practices that are actually being portrayed?
And how many of those kids actually know what the occult is? Probably not many. I can tell you what, I don't know a lot about the occult, and the things I do know about the occult, the church told me, so they're probably completely wrong. I mean, I've tried to educate myself more about things that I was completely taught wrong about, but they don't. I do use the occult, and I don't understand. Oh, yeah. That's not something I've ever, like, really looked into. I just know as a Christian, I was always told, stay away from it. Like, that stuff, you know, anything that's not Christian is satanic. So it's like, don't go near that stuff. It's satanic. You have to, like, call on demons, and you have to do all these things against God. I mean, they tell you all these things in church, but they don't describe why. And I think it's because, you know, a lot of Christians are super ignorant about anything other than even their own religion. I feel like a lot of them are ignorant about, but they don't understand things because they're not willing to look into them and actually, you know, research to a point where it's like, oh, I understand where this came from, and I understand why people do these things, or, you know, why certain cultures have certain things that they do. And instead of doing that, they just, you know, keep themselves in a bubble, and they don't want to talk about those type of things and look into them and really find, I don't know, the history and things about them that would help them understand them better. But I mean, they don't even do that with their own religion, so I don't think they're ever going to do it with anybody else's, like, beliefs or religion or anything that other people practice, because they don't even understand their own Bible. So
in these cartoons?
Oh yes, the witchcraft and occult practices are not make-believe. They're taken from actual witchcraft, actual pagan religions, levitation, mind control, astral projection, and other forms of witchcraft ceremonies are portrayed within the cartoons.
All of these things are portrayed in the cartoons?
Yes, very much so.
Well, then we could suspect that there's some kind of a spiritual force behind these things to program our children.
Oh yes, the children receive this in a very different light than we do.
Well, Lynn, before we talk about that, let's go into another Scooby-Doo cartoon, and let's see some of the occultic and witchcraft influences that are very blatant in this cartoon. Let's go to Scooby-Doo again here.
Okay.
We meet again, Vincent Van Gogh.
Marcella! So you're the evil mist. But how did you wind up in the zone?
Oh, I was swept here by a spectral wind after I escaped your chest of demons.
From one trap to the next. You never were terribly clever, were you, Marcella? No!
Oh, yes, Van Ghoul. While you rot here, my sister witches will set me free at last to haunt the heavens and the... In a short while, Vincent, my loyal sisters will rescue me from this zone.
I wouldn't count on those 3 witches if I were you, Marcella.
Oh, I do appreciate your concern, but with the Book of Spells, they can't fail. Once they reach Stonehenge and make a brew, they'll chant Spell 13.
Which will set you free.
Precisely. And I'm afraid you can't follow me. At least not without your lovely necklace. Get used to Mr. Van Ghoul, I think. He'll be staying here quite a while.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! We made it, sisters! Stonehenge! Yuck, yuck, yuck!
Well, now let's get Spell 13.
They're about to start their spell.
I can hardly believe what I'm seeing here. Now, we're looking at occultic things. We're seeing things.
He doesn't seem sincere when he says that, like, oh no, I'm outraged that this is happening in children's programming, but his face is not saying that. His face is saying, this is utterly ridiculous. I have to wonder how many adults thought this was just utterly ridiculous and how many actually believed it. I mean, I know my parents believed it, but how many people actually watched this and was like, it's just a cartoon, people. They're not trying to, like, twist anything and make your kids turn into, like, demonic people who follow demons or whatever. When I watched Scooby-Doo as a kid, I never even thought about that stuff. Like, that wasn't something that, you know, I watched Scooby-Doo to have fun. And I watched it with my siblings, so it's like, yeah, we love Scooby-Doo, and then, you know, we love to play Scooby-Doo afterwards, so it's just another part of childhood that just, you know, mindless. Who doesn't love a talking doggo? Exactly. I love dogs. I'm a dog person, even though I have cats. I'm a dog and a cat person. Honestly, I like both, so I'm just an animal person in general.
Things like the chest of demons and witches and Stonehenge and cultic Spell 13. I mean, we're talking about satanic things here. Now, Phil, it's becoming obvious to me what's going on, and I wonder, how did you get started in exploring all of this? I mean, how did you get into analyzing the toy industry?
Well, it was very unusual. I was in the
13,
process
what?
of going on the mission field and working my...
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea, Leon. I don't know. I know nothing about witchcraft or paganism. Like, and that's why I try not to, like, say too much about that stuff, because I'm not educated in that stuff enough to, like, say stuff. But I do think it's ridiculous that Christians just latch on to anything that isn't Christian as being satanic, because they don't. It just shows how much they don't know what they're talking about.
My way through that and speaking in different churches, and the Lord directed me to go on a 14-day fast. And during this fast, I did something very unusual. I walked into a toy store. And when I walked into the toy store, I was faced with a...
So, he never goes into a toy store? I wonder if he doesn't have children or something. Also, okay. I don't know. I think it's funny that that's, like, unusual, because in my generation, like, even when I didn't have kids, I would go to toy stores, because I like toys, like... Holy shit, it's candy. Give me, I'm starving. I don't know. I don't think it's weird to go to toy stores, even if you're an adult. I know plenty of adults who love toys. Like, that's okay. And maybe it's just because of this, like, my generation and the younger generations are just like, you know, be yourself. It doesn't matter. And back then it was more of a taboo thing to just walk into a toy store when you're, like, a 20 or 30-year-old without children.
Boy holding an occult symbol in its hand. And this got my curiosity up, so I purchased the toy, and I read the comic book that was with it, and it was occultic practices within the comic book. So I talked about it in the church I was in that night, but I didn't think much of it. I threw it in the back seat of my car. About 3 days later, I was driving home from these series of services, and the Lord spoke to me about what happens when a child plays with a toy and how they project themselves with their imagination into a toy, and they give it life, character.
Oh my God. So basically, no imagination. You're not allowed to have an imagination if you're a Christian. At all. None. Zero. Zip. Because it makes you do things that are not what God wants. I get it. Acid trips are weird. Yeah. Well, he was fasting for 14 days, so who knows what happened to, you know. We know that, like, your brain malfunctions when it doesn't have, like, the nutrients and stuff it needs. And this is stuff I didn't know till after I, like, left Christianity, because we would do, like, fasts and stuff, and it never occurred to me that, like, the reason they do fasts and things like that is because when they deprive your body of certain things, it creates, you know, like you said, acid trips. It creates these, your brain malfunctions in a lot of ways, and it makes you, you know, you can hallucinate. You can go into these trips and stuff because your body doesn't have what it needs to sustain itself. And I never thought about that when I was in the church, and how that is a way that they can control you and make you think that what is happening in your brain is really a spiritual experience, and how it's, you know, you could see Jesus, or you could see God, or you could, you know, take these trips to heaven or whatever. And but people don't understand that that's like a natural process that happens in your brain because of what has been happening in your body. Funny how Christians use tricks to manipulate others. Yeah. The manipulation within the church is a big one too, that I didn't see till when I was getting close to leaving. And towards the end, when I started seeing the tricks and the ways that they use manipulation in order to basically trick people into giving up their free will and giving up any identity of their own, I was done with it all. And you don't see it with the God glasses on. You just don't, because you see these people trying to do, you know, God's work, that they're God's people and they really are trying to do the Lord's will. But once you take those God glasses off and you realize, like, these are all just tactics used in order to trick people into doing what they want, there's no way to go back from that. My aunt, who was a dean at a Catholic school, telling me she'd strip students of watches or phones during a retreat because they wanted them to be on God's time. Jesus said his children were sheep. Yep. Nobody seems to realize Jesus was comparing his followers to the dumbest animal. Oh no. In the church I went to, they completely played that up. They played that up in the idea that we are completely dumb. Like, humans have absolutely no idea what God wants, that we have no idea how God does anything, and we will never understand God till we get to heaven, and that's okay, because that's the way God made us. God basically made us unable and incapable of understanding him at all, and we are just supposed to go along with that and be okay with that, because, you know, we need to rely on faith and rely on the fact that God has given us life, and because he's given us life, we need to be his people and we need to obey him, and there's no reason for us not to, because he created everything and he created us. So God basically wanted us to be stupid praise machines to kiss his ass all day. Yep. That's pretty much what they teach. They just say it in a nicer way so that you don't realize that you're being manipulated and basically programmed to be a robot. Like, heaven is not going to be this amazing place that everybody says it is, because you're literally a robot who worships a maniacal dictator who will burn you forever if you don't bow down at his feet. Like, it's absolutely disgusting. And it's like, you know, like they said, it's not just manipulation. Like, it's straight up like abusive talk. It's how an abuser would treat, you know, their significant other, or, you know, anyone under them. Like, it's very much do what I want you to do or I'm going to hurt you. And the reason I hurt you is because I don't like what you do. So it's your fault. It's not anybody else's fault. It's your fault that I hurt you. And it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. And I think, unfortunately, that plays out in a lot of other parts of Christianity too, because not only does that play out in, like, your relationship with God, but it can play out in any of the relationships you have in the church as well. Just not just with, you know, your significant other or your children, but it can also play out with people who supposedly have authority over you in the church, because they know that they have that power and those abilities to basically, they can do whatever they want. And you have to, you know, give people the benefit of the doubt and just hope they're not going to use their power to hurt you or other people around you. And unfortunately, I feel like a lot of people in power in the church use that power for evil or to just get what they want. And they don't care what it does to other people. And unfortunately, I think it's allowed a lot of people who are abusive to get away with things, because there's no accountability when it comes to, like, a lot of the churches and stuff. And a lot of churches will just, you know, not bat an eye about it. Or they'll just try to hide, you know, certain things happen, they'll try to hide it. I mean, we've seen that in the Catholic Church. And in the church that I went to for a while, I'm not going to get into details, but there were definitely things that were hidden that should have not been hidden and ended up coming out later, and people were like, what? And, you know, those were the people in authority who were hiding those things because they didn't want people that they, you know, loved or, you know, within their own group of people or whatever, to have to suffer the consequences of their actions. And it's disgusting. It's gross that we let so many people get away with the things that they do in the church. And it's frustrating too, because as a church member, like, you know things are happening, especially when you're in certain positions of power. Because, you know, there were things happening in my church and I was in a position of, well, not quite power, but, you know, I was helping in a certain part of the church and I knew certain things that were going on. But, you know, because I was a part of the church and I was a Christian, I was told to keep my mouth shut. And looking back on that, I'm like, I really wish I hadn't, because a lot of people got hurt during those times because they basically told everybody to shut up and don't say anything. And I can tell you now, like, if I ever get in those positions now, like, nope, I'm not gonna just shut up and let it go. Like, I will go to the freaking authorities because this is not okay. Let go and let God, aka shut up, stop thinking, and start praying. Exactly. Yeah, it's... And the older I get, the more I realize how much, you know, the church is more of a not just a business, but it's almost like this. It's like, it's not just a cult either. It's a tribe. Like, the tribe is going to do whatever it can to protect the members of that tribe, even if certain members hurt other members. And some people in that tribe will do anything they can to sweep things under the rug because they don't want to deal with the consequences of whatever those actions are. Shut up, start praying, and give us money. Yeah. It is very much a tribe. In fact, a lot of cults like to think of themselves as tribes. Yeah. It's scary, man. And it's scary to think, like, I was part of that for, 27, 28 years of my life. I wasted all that time, like, trying to please these people, trying to make them think that, I was doing it all right, that I was following God, that I was tithing, that I was reading my Bible, that I was, doing all the things that a good Christian girl should do, and how much time do we have left? Let me see. I mean, it's getting close to the end on this one. I don't know how far we are. $53 and we're at 16, so like 40. Is that seconds or yeah, that's seconds. 40 seconds? My screen's like shrunk because it's a weird, it's not like the normal YouTube thing, so it's hard to see the numbers. I have to go. She's staring into my soul. Okay, take your dog out. I'm sure she'll appreciate that.
Abilities, talents, and they set the surrounding around the toy.
Now, wait a minute. Now, you're saying a child actually projects himself into the toy. Can you say that again? Because I think that's a real key here, that the cartoons have this kind of effect upon the child and even the toys.
Yeah, the toy is a lifeless hunk of plastic, and it only comes to life with that projection of the imagination into a toy.
Yeah.
And they give it life, character, abilities, talents, and set the surroundings around the toy.
So the child vicariously lives through that toy.
Yes, very much so.
It's called imagination, people. It's healthy for children to have an imagination. If you're saying it's unhealthy for children to have an imagination, you need to go back to, like, school or something and learn, because we know this is good for kids when it comes to, like, developing self. And well, there you go. That's probably the problem right there, is they don't want kids to develop themselves. They want you to be what God wants you to be. A mindless robot who only believes in the Bible and doesn't trust anybody else. Imaginations are okay as long as you only imagine what we approve of. Yeah. So you can read the Bible and imagine, like, heaven and Jesus and God and angels and demons, but you can't play with a piece of plastic. I'm a Pokemon. You can't play with a piece of plastic and pretend that it has its own character and its own story and its own ability to just have adventures. Because that's not God-pleasing. You can only play with the plastic toy if it's worshiping God in some way. Oh my God, could you imagine your childhood if that was... Oh. I'm really glad that regardless of the craziness that I grew up in, that it didn't go to that extreme where I couldn't even, like, just imagine, having plastic toys and imagining and playing with them. I feel sorry for any kids who had to deal with that, because I thought I dealt with some major craziness growing up with the whole satanic panic thing, but how many kids probably weren't even allowed to play with toys in general because of this idea that they're projecting themselves into the toy and using their imaginations for something other than God. Gumby pins to God's will. Oh God. Oh, Caleb and Sophia. Those are bad too. I feel so bad for... It's crazy to me now because I think about it. It's like I grew up Christian, and for me, I didn't feel like my life was horrible. But then I look back and think of the things that I wasn't able to do, and then I think of kids that are even in worse religions and cults than me, and I'm just like, I can't even imagine like being in the Jehovah's Witness as a kid. That would be... I mean, I've listened to, you know, Telltale and oh, who's the other guy? My brain does not work. Yeah, I've watched some of those on the people who grew up JWs, and I just can't even imagine. Yes, I lived a crazy childhood because of Christianity, but I feel real sorry for the other kids who have to grow up in even worse cults like that. Oh, well, that was done. Oh my goodness. And that was part 1. There's like 10 parts to that. I'm excited though, because I don't think I've ever watched this whole like video through, and I remember seeing like parts of it where he was talking about like He-Man and stuff, and I know there's like certain parts where and I think he even talks about like Care Bears and Smurfs and stuff. I don't remember all of it, but I don't know if Seth put some of that in his actual talk or if he was just talking about it. But yeah, it is very interesting. If you guys haven't seen my talk on the Satanic Panic, I have one on mine, just like all the craziness that I went through as a kid, going through the Satanic Panic and some of the things that my parents told me and honestly made me think were like real events when we don't really have any thing to back up those events actually happened. Part 9, Care Bears drink the Kool-Aid. Oh no. Not good. Yeah, I don't think I've watched the whole thing, so I'm excited to watch the whole thing. Because I grew up in this stuff, and it was just like, it's craziness. Oh, yeah. Bust through that wall. Yeah, I remember I did watch like a documentary on the Satanic Panic too, about there were like daycares and stuff that people were claiming satanic rituals were happening in, and people were like getting arrested and stuff. I think that was in the 90s. Because I think it was when I was a kid that some of that stuff was happening. Care Bears worshipping the Kool-Aid Man chanting, "Oh yeah." I feel like that needs to be on a t-shirt or something. Anyone with artistic skills want to draw the Care Bears worshipping the Kool-Aid Man? Oh, that would be funny. I love that stuff. I saw a t-shirt the other day because I had to go like clothes shopping for my kids, and there was one that was a t-shirt and it said nobody, and then, you know, it didn't say anything, and then it said the Kool-Aid Man, and then he broke through the wall. Oh yeah. And I was like, that's really funny. I loved it. I love silly shirts like that. What's the other one I saw? I saw a taco and nacho one yesterday too. It was like, you have... No, my brain's not working. Like, you have much to talk about, like taco bout, and then the other one was like, oh no, it's nacho business. or something like that. I thought it was cute. It was for little kids, because I have little kids. I thought it was hilarious, and my younger son would wear that shirt, but I didn't buy it, because I'm trying to save money right now. I was trying to only buy what I needed to buy. I can't help it, though, sometimes. I see clothes, and I'm just like, oh, those are awesome. And with having boys, like, they always have, like, funny shirts that are just, like, that is hilarious. I really want to get that shirt, because it's just funny. But I'm also trying to save money. So I'm trying to stay, you know, go to the store, buy what I need. Don't get extra stuff if I don't have to. But sometimes it happens where I see something on sale. Clown shirts. Oh no, not clown shirts. No clown shirts. That'll probably happen when they're teenagers. Wear all those evil clowns, Pennywise and all that. Ugh, cat hair everywhere. There's cat hair everywhere. Yeah. And I was trying to think about, like, Seth Andrews. I don't know if he... I know he talked about the, like, turmoil in the Toybox, but I don't know if he actually put any clips or anything in it. When he did his, like, whole speech on it. I think he just... Oh, no. He released a book about talking like an idiot, huh? Because, like, I think he just released a book on that, but... I mean, it's quite possible that he put some of that... Satanic Panic stuff in there. I don't know. I haven't seen his new book. I mean, I've seen it, but I haven't read it, so... Pennywise will be president by the time they're teenagers. Oh, God. No, thank you. Then I will be moving to Canada. I keep having all my friends telling me I need to move elsewhere because America is not a great place to be right now. They're like, just move to where we live. That's the best place to be. Get away from America. Walking on ice. Is there ice where you are, Leon? We don't have any snow or ice over here right now, so. Pennywise, deadlights for all. Oh, you had a winter storm. In Arkansas. Yeah, I live on the West Coast, so we don't get, you know, we don't get a lot of storms, but when we do, everything shuts down. So... Which I've talked about several times, but... Yeah. We don't have any ice and snow here. Although the weathermen are claiming, like, our February is supposed to be bad. Supposedly. We'll see. The upside is, if it's bad, I get snow days at work, so I don't have to go into work. So that'll be nice. Even though I live right around the corner from it. But, I mean, I get it. They don't want to, like, run buses and stuff here, because nobody knows how to drive in snow where I live. Like, even if you live around the corner. Like, yes, I could walk in the snow, but... We got ice. I'm debating work to go or not to go. Yeah. I just don't go anywhere when it snows. In the Northwest? Oh no, we don't know how to handle snow. Because it doesn't snow enough here. And when we get snowstorms, we don't know how to deal with them. And we don't have, like, the equipment and stuff to deal with them here. Like, we don't have the stuff to, like, clear the roads and stuff. So, basically, if it snows and there's too much snow everywhere, everything just shuts down. My face. I'm not kidding you. Like, they will literally shut everything down. Stores, schools, even, like, government buildings. Like, nobody knows how to drive here in snow. Because it's so wet and slippery, and we just... we don't have the equipment to deal with it. So when we get giant snowstorms, everybody just goes to the store and buys everything out, and we just live in our homes until the snow goes away. It's kind of like quarantine, but with snow. Every time. It's wet, slippery, and gets everywhere. Yup. That's how it is up here in the Northwest. Yeah, it is crazy that that's how we do things here, but that's exactly how we do things. We don't know how to deal with snow. So everything just shuts down. I don't even think people here probably don't even have like snow shovels and stuff, because it's just not. Here in LA, nobody knows how to deal with rain. That sucks. I feel like even where I live, though, like, I live where it rains all the time, and people still drive like they don't know how to drive in rain. Which is funny, because it's like, most people who live here should know how to drive in rain. Portland, wet, slippery, and weed. Yeah. You know, keep Portland weird. That's what we do. We really do keep it weird. I think people who live in other places, if they came to Portland at all, would just... It's a whole other world. Like, you can't even imagine. Like, I'm used to it because, like, I was born and raised here, but it's, like... It's funny because, like, I went to, like, Tennessee and Kentucky when I was, like, in junior high, and I come back over here where I live, and I'm just, like... It's, like, two different worlds. It's a completely different world, like, going to the South and then coming back to the Pacific Northwest. It is like two different worlds. It's weird. But honestly, I love where I live, and if I don't have to move, like, I don't want to go anywhere else if I don't have to, but apparently my family is trying to all move to the South, though. And they're all telling me, they're like, you should go with us. And I was like, I can't. And I don't think I want to. I think my brother's staying here. But, like, my sisters and my mom, they're all trying to move. Like, my mom wants to move to Texas, and my sisters are trying to move to Tennessee. And I'm just like, I don't think I could live over there. Don't come down here. Our pizza's very... Oh, we don't have good pizza? I love our pizza here. We have good pizza everywhere. But we have, like, varieties. I think that's another thing I like, because can you say y'all? I can say y'all. Like, I didn't grow up in the South, but my mom is from, like, Illinois, Tennessee, and Kentucky. So she has an accent, which is funny, because growing up, people would always say that I had an accent, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I was born and raised in Oregon. Like, I don't have an accent. I'm not from the South. But when people meet my mom, they're like, oh, yeah, she definitely is from the South. And it's funny, too, because I'll say things that are, like, Southern, and I don't even realize it. And they're like, what are you saying? And I'm like, I'm saying this word. And they're like, no, you're not. What are you talking about? Like, my mom says, instead of saying wash, she says wash. Puts an R in wash. I'm gonna go wash the clothes. Which I didn't even think anything of it growing up. And then people were like, why does she say it that way? And I'm like, I have no idea. But she was raised in the South, so I guess that makes sense. I was raised in the Pacific Northwest, so I don't think I have an accent, but my friends have told me that sometimes it comes out, so I don't know. It's possible. It's possible that I just don't hear it too. I don't know. Nothing in the South makes sense. Oh well. I mean, I liked visiting the South. That was nice. It was kind of like nice to just be in a different part of the US and like see things and stuff. And I'm like one of those people that like one day wants to travel more and see more of not just the world, but even like the United States, because I haven't been, like, Kentucky and Tennessee is the furthest I've been, so I've never been to like the East Coast and stuff. So I'm hoping one day that I have like the money and resources and stuff that I can see more places and do more things, but it doesn't always happen that way. But I also like history, so it was fun. Like, when we went to Tennessee and Kentucky when I was a kid, we went and saw a lot of, like, museums and went to a lot of, like, the Civil War battlefields and stuff and got to see a lot of that stuff, and that was cool. So, and I really want to go see, like, I watched National Treasure with my kiddos. They like that movie, and I always tell them, like, we need to go to the East Coast and see some of these things, because it's really cool. It's like history, and, you know, really get to see that stuff up close and learn history, like, from a more, I don't know. I like to see those things as opposed to, like, yeah, I can see them in pictures, but it's different to go there and actually, like, see where these things take place and be there and hear those stories. I did go to Shiloh. Yeah, I did. Learn history instead of being spoon-fed, yeah. Yeah, I went to Shiloh. I can't remember all the ones I went to. There was a fort, I think, we went to in Kentucky, too. But yes, we went to Shiloh. It's a favorite of mine. Nice. Yeah, that was such a long time ago. I was 14 when we went there, so... It's funny, because I'm like, that was so long ago, but it's like, yeah, it was long ago, but it wasn't long ago. It's weird, because it's like, I'm in my 30s now, and 14 seems so far away, but at the same time, it's like, it's probably not as far away as I think it was, but yeah, I remember going there and stuff. And, like, in the town I grew up in, great-great-grandfather fought there for the winning side. Nice. I want to go to Gettysburg. The hate flags. Oh, yeah. My mom bought one of those when we went to Shiloh. Isn't that exciting? Yeah, my mom is a true Southerner. Unfortunately, but yeah. I'm glad she never, because she bought it and she was going to hang it over our mantle, and I'm glad she never did, because I mean, I didn't quite understand it back then because I was 14 and didn't quite understand all that stuff yet, but yeah, she bought one and she's like, I'm going to hang this over my mantle, and I look back on that now and I'm like, oh my god, I'm really glad she didn't do that, because I couldn't imagine bringing my friends over to the house and having to explain that. The rebel rack. Yeah. Yeah. Not good. But yeah, I would love to go see, like, Gettysburg and stuff, too. I'm a history person. I love all that stuff, and I think it's fun, and that's why I was kind of excited, like, when my husband got a job, well, bullying? Oh, that's why. That's okay, I allowed it. I get why they did that, though, but yeah. No, I was excited because my husband got a job offer in Maryland, and my soon-to-be ex-husband got a job offer in Maryland, and he didn't get the job. It was just, like, interview and stuff, but I was a little excited about that because I was like, oh, like, we get to move to Maryland. But then it didn't go through, so. And I'm glad it didn't, because things didn't go the way I planned, so. You've been to Gettysburg? Nice. Yeah, I want to see all that stuff. That'd be fun. Go see, like, the Liberty Bell, and, I mean, even, like, taking a tour of, like, the White House, and all the East Coast stuff. I want to go see all the East Coast stuff that I haven't seen. The only proper Confederate flag is the white flag. Yeah. Yes. I don't know if I'm sure there were people in my family who fought, but I don't know which side they would have fought for. Unfortunately, probably the South, because most of my family comes from the South, but I don't know. I haven't dug into that much history on that side of my family. I have a lot more history on, like, my dad's side of my family, because my grandma is, like, one of those people that really likes to dig into, like, genealogy and stuff. So she just gives me, like, books full of, like, our genealogy. So I know a lot more about her side and my dad's side of the family than I do about my mom's side of the family. But I think my grandpa was, like, French Canadian, so, because he has a very, like, in Maryland. Oh, God. I don't know if they have accents in Maryland. I don't know. I don't think I have much of an accent. I mean, I've had people tell me that I don't, and I've had people tell me that I do, so I don't know. I'm probably just a mix of everything that I've grown up around, so. I have to go to work. Only 2 more days, though. I do love my job, though. I want to keep this job if I can. No, I have a great job, honestly. Like, I love my boss. She's amazing. She's like a 60-year-old who loves hip-hop. And she loves to, like, dance and twerk and stuff. It's so funny. I love her. Like, she's awesome. I remember the first day coming into work, and she's like, you know what you're doing, right? Because, like, I've worked in a cafeteria before, and I was like, oh, yeah. Like, put dishes away. Do dishes, help serve and stuff. Like, she's like, good, because I don't micromanage. Like, just do your thing and you'll be fine. And then she just went and did her thing, and I was like, this is the best job ever. Like, no micromanaging. Like, I can do my thing. Be in the back, do the dishes, help make breakfast and stuff, and then go home. It's so nice. So, hopefully I keep this job, but I don't know what's going to happen. But I definitely like the job I have right now. It's amazing. It's a great one. But yeah. Thanks for watching Turmoil in the Toybox with me, y'all. Oh, there's the y'all. Look what you've done, mice. I have to go get ready for work. Yep. I got other stuff to do today. So I hope you all have a good day. I will probably see you. Keep comfy. Yeah. With my kitties. Bye, Lord Falcon is. Yeah. I don't have my kids. They're gonna be with their dad Thursday to Tuesday, so I'll probably stream more this weekend since I'll have more time to be on and work my other jobs and all that jazz. So hopefully the next like 4 or 5 days I'll probably be on every day. So hopefully I see you whenever I get on. It'll probably be in the afternoon or like evening times, because I do my work in the morning. So hope you'll have a lovely day. Thank you again to all my patrons. If you guys want to become a patron, patreon.com/overprotectedatheist. If you're a patron for 3 months, you get an awesome OA sticker sent to you. I know Tons of Mice just got, I just got a thing for him to get his sticker in the next 2 weeks, so yeah. And I've had people in the past get them too, and they said they loved them, so yep. If you want to support me and get that stuff, that's awesome. Or support me on here or wherever. I have lots of ways you can support me. Sticker score, yeah. 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 Have a great day, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. Bye.
Science table is not plugged into the rest of the network. The science table